साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः.
Namaste, and thank you for joining us today to celebrate the life of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda was almost single-handedly responsible for introducing the Indian philosophies of Vedanta and Yoga to the West. His first journey to the Western world was in 1893, where he spoke at the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, beginning his speech with the famous words, "Sisters and Brothers of America." At these words, he was greeted with a 2-minute standing ovation from the crowd. This speech became wildly famous, the West's first introduction to Hinduism, and Vivekananda was extremely well received by the public and the press for his oratory skills and powerful presence. Through this tour and subsequent lecture tours through the US and Europe, Vivekananda was able to bring Hinduism to the ranks of other major world religions, in addition to becoming an avid proponent of interfaith awareness and the revival of Hinduism in India. He is remembered today as one of the 100 most influential people of all time. Today we gather to learn more about Swami Vivekananda's teachings and their relevance in our modern world. We have an exciting program planned, filled with music, several short talks by devotees, a drama, and prasad. Some housekeeping before we begin. Please make sure to turn off your cell phones or on completely silent so as not to disturb other devotees or performers. There are biscuits, hot water, and juice available in the foyer, as well as waste baskets, and washrooms are available down this hallway to your left. Registration is over there. Please make sure you register before you leave today so we can share future events with you. We will start with an invocation chanting by the budding group. Swamiji, can you light the lamp so we may begin?
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Gananam Tva Ganapatigam Avamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashvanvanno Divisida Sadhanam Mahaganapataye Namaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebirvajinirvati Dinamavitravat Ano Divo Brahata Parvatada Saraswati Yajatagantu Yagnam Vadevyai Namaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Shanno Mitrasham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatparyama Shanno Indro Brahaspatihi Shanno Vishnurrukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vaya Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ridam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadbhaktaramavatu Avadu Mam Avadu Bhaktaram. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Bhadram Karne Vishnu Yama Devaha Bhadram Pashyema विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्त्राष्ट्रो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ नमो ब्रह्मणे नमो अस्त्वग्नये नमः पृथिव्यै नमो ओषधेभ्यः नमो वाचे नमो वाचस्पतये नमो विष्णवे बृहते करोमि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तच्चैयोरारुणीमहे गातुर्यज्ञाय गातुर्यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजं शन्नो अस्त्वद्विपदे शं चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।
Next, we will have a reading of Swamiji's letter by Nilati.
Letter written by Swami Vivekananda from Baltimore, USA on 22nd of October 1894. Originally, this letter was written in Bengali and it was to Swami Ramakrishnananda. Dear Shashi, glad to receive your letter and go through the contents. I received today a letter of Akshay Kumar Ghosh from London, which also gives me some information. Now you have come to know your own powers. Strike the iron while it is hot. Idleness won't do. Throw overboard all idea of jealousy and egotism. Once for all. Come on to the practical field with tremendous energy to work in the fullness of strength. As to the rest, the Lord will point out the way. The whole world will be deluged by a tidal wave. Work, work, work. Let this be your motto. I cannot see anything else. There is no end of work here. I am careering all over the country. Wherever the seed of his power will find its way, there it will fructify. In Sanskrit, be it today or in 100 years, you must work in sympathy with all. Then only it will lead to quick results. Our object is to do good to the world and not the trumpeting of our own names. Why doesn't Niranjan learn Pali in Ceylon and study Buddhist books? I cannot make out what good will come of aimless rambling. Those that have come under his protection have virtue, wealth, desires, and freedom lying at their feet. Courage. Everything will come about by degrees. From all of you, I want this, that you must discard forever self-aggrandizement, faction-mongering, and jealousy. You must be all forbearing like Mother Earth. If you can achieve this, the world will be at your feet. Try to give less of material food in the anniversary celebrations and give some food for the brain instead. Your affectionately, Vivekananda.
In Hindu tradition, we begin all events with a prayer to Lord Ganesh. So I'll be singing Gaye Ganapati Jagavandana.
Gaye Ganapati Jagavandana Shankara Suvana Bhavani Nandana Gaye Ganapati Jagavandana Shankara Suvana Bhavani Nandana Gaye Ganapati Jagavandana Siddhi Sadhana Gajavadana Vinayaka Siddhi Sadhana Gajavadana Vinayaka Kripa Sindhu Sundara Sabalayaka Siddhi Sadhana Gajavadana Vinayaka Kripa Sindhu Sundara Sabalayaka Gaye Ganapati Jagavandana Shankara Suvana Bhavani Nandana Gaye Ganapati Jagavandana Modaka Priya Moda Mangaladata Modaka Priya Moda Mangaladata Vidyavaridi Bodhi Vidata Modaka Priya Moda Mangaladata Vidyavaridi Bodhi Vidata Gaye Ganapati Jagavandana Shankara Suvana Bhavani Nandana Gaye Ganapati Jagavandana Mangata Tulasi Dasa Karajore Mangata Tulasi Dasa Karajore Basera Masiya Manasa More Mangata Tulasi Dasa Karajore Basera Masiya Manasa More Gaye Ganapati Jagavandana Shankara Suvana Bhavani Nandana Gaye Ganapati Jagavandana
Terence, can you give the welcome?
My job is to welcome you here. On behalf of Swami Chandrasekharananda, Minister in charge of the Vedanta Society, the Board of Trustees, and all of our membership, I welcome you to the 4th annual youth program here at the Vedanta Society Portland. Swami Chandrasekharananda has initiated this program and is keeping it going, and it's growing every year, thanks to your attendance. I wanted to just share one thing about a meaningful event that happened to me in mid-1980s. It was Swami Vivekananda's birthday, and we were celebrating it in this exact spot right here. And I didn't really know much about Swami Vivekananda, but someone was talking at the back of the room during the puja, during his birthday celebration. And Swami Seshananda stopped in the middle of his puja, and he said, "What's this talking about? Don't you realize that when we celebrate the great holy man who's immortal, that he comes in a subtle form and he enters your being?" And you could hear a pin drop. And it meaningfully impressed upon me a permanent record of the importance of worship and honoring those who have followed ahead of us with great vigor and with great energy, to attain immortality, the highest goal in life, which Vivekananda did achieve. So I welcome you here to this event. I think he is present here today, and he is going to be filling our lives with great joy and great energy as he has when he was alive in the physical body. Thank you very much for coming, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation.
different from God. your eyes shine the light. Mashallah, mashallah. Wonder of God in you. To your eyes shine the light. Mashallah, mashallah. Wonder of God in you. Mashallah, mashallah.
Thank you. A reminder to please stay for prasad. If you must leave, please take the to-go prasad on your way out. Now we will progress to the next section of our program, our theme talks. To the speakers, please limit each of your speeches to 5 to 7 minutes. I will wave a yellow flag at 5 minutes as a time check, and a red flag at 7 minutes to indicate the time is up. We will begin with Shankar Ram, who will speak on the itinerant days in India.
I already have a loud voice, so if in case it's getting too loud, please let me know. I'll just step aside and not use the mic. Good morning to everyone here. Pranams to Swamiji. Today I'm going to talk on the topic, the ignorant days of Swami Vivekananda. So, Swami Vivekananda had traveled the length and breadth of India, and towards the end of his journey, end of his itinerant life, he had gone to Kanyakumari, where he had this divine vision of going to the West and participating in the Parliament of Religions. So, it's interesting to note that in the itinerant life, when Swamiji kind of set out, all he had with him at that point in time was essentially a staff, a pot, and a couple of books. It is believed to have been said to his brother disciples that I shall not return until I have acquired such realization that my very touch will transform the life of a man. Such were the mighty words of Swamiji at that point in time. So in the interest of time, what I'm going to do is in the next few minutes, I'll be sharing maybe 2 or 3 different incidents which kind of highlight some of the important message that Swamiji had to share. So one day when Swamiji was returning back from a temple visit, there were a troop of monkeys that were pursuing Swamiji. In the fear of potentially being harmed by these monkeys, Swamiji started running away from these monkeys. Suddenly he heard an old sannyasin shout, "Stop and face the brutes." At this message, Swamiji overcame the fear, turned back. Seeing him defiant, the monkeys fled away. It's interesting because face the brutes message has got a very deep meaning in it, and it has something to offer for each one of us now and forever, right? The meaning behind it is, how do we face adversities in life? How do we face challenges in life? And how do we conduct ourselves in daily life and to go on with it by taking life head on as it comes? The second incident that I'd like to share is when Swamiji was on his way to Vrindavan. And again, an interesting fact here is that most of the journey that he traversed was on foot, across the length and breadth of India. So this was one of his days where he had traveled a lot of miles by foot. It was pretty weary at the end of the day. Then he saw a man on the sidewalk who was comfortably, taking a smoke. Swamiji thought, it's been a long day and a smoke would certainly do good to him. So he approaches this man on the sidewalk and he asks him if he can have a smoke. So at that point in time, the man says, "I'm a bhangi, I'm a sweeper." Swamiji, gripped with these ideas of the age-old caste system and the social position in the society, also kind of shrank back and continued on his way. But as he continued on his journey, he was thinking to himself, wait, I'm a sannyasin. I've taken a vow to treat everyone equally, and when this man says that he's a bhangi, how come I buy into this age-old tradition? So he says, no, this shall not happen. And at this point in time, he turns back, traces his path back to where the sweeper was, and then this time he insists the man that he will have the smoke from the very bowl that he was having. This incident is one of my favorite, and it's kind of profound in very many ways. And the reason why I say that is because this is something which has layers of meaning depending on how you look at it. The most important thing being, on the face of it, the message it has to offer for each one of us is more about the message of equality, of everyone being equal. If you take a deeper meaning to it, it also emphasizes the divinity within each one of us. In Swami's own words, one of his famous thoughts, he says that each soul is potentially divine, right? So thinking of it along those lines, this was something that he not only experienced, but he goes on to practice it in real life. The last incident that I have to share is on image worship. So one of the Rajas, while hosting Swamiji, they had an intense discussion on very many topics, and one of the topics that came up was also image worship. So this Raja, given to his Western ways and his influence by the Western thoughts, did not necessarily agree with image worship. And he asked Swamiji the reasons for it, and after Swamiji started to talk, he didn't seem to be very convinced with what the Swamiji had said. So Swamiji said, well, he asked the Prime Minister, who was not too far away from him, to bring down a portrait of the king, and he asked him to spit on the portrait. Well, the audience was certainly shocked by this audacity that Swamiji had to display. But then Swamiji went on to explain that, see, although this is just a portrait and this is not actually you in flesh and blood, the people still relate to you as the king through the portrait. Likewise, people when they go to a temple worship the image or the murti where they see the manifestation of divinity in the form of an image. Likewise, it helps not only to increase concentration but can certainly help someone in the early stages of spirituality. Those were the things that Swamiji had to say. Right after this, the king had apologized for what he had said. But throughout his life, there have been very many incidents, all worth reading and digesting for each one of us. But to kind of, summarize his itinerant life, it was roughly about 3 years where he had traveled across, the vast tracts of land, up in the mountains, down in the valleys, through the forests and into the fields. On some days, he used to be hosted by the pariahs, the lowest section of the society, and in other days, he used to dine with the kings. He entered into the magnificent gateways of temples, and in the other days, he was living with the outcasts. All with the same level of reverence, all with understanding the same level of divinity within each one of them. He understood time and again, daring the heat and the cold, the pain and the anger and all the frustration, he had experienced India as a whole. He had become one with the masses. The nation had a grip on him which was unrelenting. His entire experience of roughly 3 years shaped him as a person and certainly attributed to a lot of his ideas which he came to share in his later years. This itinerant life of his also made him strengthen his conviction on his master's teachings. With this, I would certainly close my speech, and I would like to thank Vedanta Society for having given me an opportunity to share my thoughts on this topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next we have Venkat Reddy on the challenging days for Swami Vivekananda in the West.
So I'm going to talk about challenging days in West Side. So as we all know, Swamiji has faced tremendous pressure and tremendous issues, like he doesn't have, one thing is he doesn't have money, and he doesn't have people who are with him, like demotivated Swamiji most of the times. And with all those things, Swamiji overcome and he reached to America. And after, I want to talk about after Parliament of Religions, so what are the problems he faced in US or across the than India. So one day, I think after his Parliament of Religion, Swamiji went to New York at Manhattan, and there used to be, he used to give lectures. I mean, in the room around 1,500 people used to be there, and the offerings what he get, it is not sufficient, and it doesn't even pay his rent and his food also. So, and that was and he faced tremendous issues. And after that, one day I want to talk about few incidents, like people who demotivated Swamiji, especially. So one day, I think Swamiji was traveling in a train. So there were some people who says, Swamiji, why don't you wear some good clothes? So then Swamiji said, for you, clothes that makes you gentleman, but for me, it's the character that makes one. So, and I want to take a few other incidents. So Swamiji went to one of the university in London, so where Professor, I think his name is, I don't remember, I think Peters. So, and during his lunch time, so Swamiji took his plate and he sat next to the professor. Then professor said, I think you cannot sit, I think, I want to pick the exact thing. A pig and a bird do not sit together and eat. So, but Swamiji replied, says, okay, okay, professor, I will fly away. And but Mr. Professor, he wants to take revenge, and he said, he gave another, he asked another question, asking, there is one bag in that, so I think there are two bags, one has a wisdom, another one has a money, which one do you choose? So Swamiji responded, of course, the one with the money. But Professor Peter says, I thought, I would take wisdom. But Swamiji said, each one takes what he doesn't have. So, and another incident, Swamiji, one of the Christian person, he called him to his home, and he showed, in Iraq, there is a bunch of books. So, and he piled up all the books, and the Bhagavad Gita book is at the bottom. And he was telling the Swamiji, look at the books. Bhagavad Gita book is at the bottom, and the Bible is at the top. And Swamiji said, you are right. Bhagavad Gita book is at the, because it is a bottom and it is very strong. So another incident I want to take. So Swamiji traveling in I think in another train somewhere. So, and to give lecture. So there were in the train there are a couple of girls. So and I'm asking Swamiji. He has a wristwatch in his hand. I think somebody gave a gift to Swamiji, and those girls thought that Swamiji is a deaf. He doesn't. So then they were asking him, we will complain to police that you are harassing us. So Swamiji said, can you write it on a paper and just give it to me? So, and saying that I want the wristwatch. Then Swamiji said, then he opened up his mind. Okay, I will give this to police as a complaint. So these are the incidents, and another I want to pick another last incident. So one of the I think Swamiji went to one place where some people, some jealous people, they are from some other religion, they wanted to probe Swamiji's asking. One beautiful lady came to Swamiji and asking him, Swami, can you marry me? And Swamiji replied and asking, why do you want to marry me? Then she said, I want son like you. Then Swamiji said, I can become your son. Then she was felt so shamed, and she ran away from that place. But after that, I think she was one of the devotees of Swamiji after that. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
And next we have Swati Mishra on Swamiji being a bridge between India and the West.
Namaste to the fellow seekers and pranams to Swamiji. My name is Anil Bhagavatada. I am introduced to the Vedanta Society by Lokesh ji. Lokesh ji first asked me to speak and sent me the topics. Then I looked at them and said, okay, he must be kidding, I cannot speak anything on these topics because these are too profound for me. And then, in addition to that, what it said was this was a Youth Day celebration. And I said, okay, how do I fit into a Youth Day celebration, right? So, but of course, if anybody has worked with Lokesh ji, they know that he's a very calm and composed demeanor. It has a calming effect on people. So he persuaded me to talk. So Since I'm new to the Vedanta society and also to many of the teachings of Swamiji, my content will be a little offbeat. It's not going to be drawing too much from either Vedanta or Swamiji's teachings, but since I'm a student of history, I would like to talk about, since the topic anyway lends itself to my interest, it says ancient to modern. And it's highly difficult actually when you talk about ancient, where do you draw the line, right? Because typically when they talk about ancient, they're talking about the political timeline. When they talk about 1500 years before BC to about 500 after AD, that's not really ancient when you're thinking about spiritual topics or religion, because religion and philosophy and those kind of things existed long before 1500 BC. So I really went back to the very beginning, metaphorically. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is about 80,000 years ago. Okay, you know what time we're talking about? We're talking about Stone Age. A Paleolithic man lived during that time. What they were concerned about was the physical world around them. Because that's all they were seeing, and they didn't understand, and they didn't know how to rationalize. They were seeing that weather changes quite often. They saw that seasons changed, and they didn't understand why they changed. They were wondering about sun and the moon and the mountains and rivers, and they didn't understand, and they were figuring out who created them. And when they slept, they had dreams in the night, and when they woke up, they were gone. They wondered, okay, what are these? Right? So those were some of the things that they were concerned with. And they suspected that there must be some invisible spirits that are controlling the world. So there you go. The spirit was something that, a concept that lived 80,000 years ago. And then they postulated that humans exist to serve the spirits. There were rudimentary concepts or constructs like good and evil that existed back then, but we don't know much about it because we talk about pre-recorded history, long time ago. So if you leap forward to the ancient classical periods of civilizations, we're talking about maybe from 80,000, we're moving forward really fast to about 10,000, 8,000 years ago. Civilizations started cropping up. Religions, established religions, started defining their own theology, philosophy, and all that. The things that are noteworthy about this period is, at least from the Indic religious standpoint, they figured that human beings are not just body. There is a soul behind human beings. And they also believed that the soul lived on after the human's body is gone. They also refined the idea of good and evil, and they thought that doing good will get you to a better afterlife. So there were concepts like this that were part of the ancient times. There were other things that are noteworthy about the ancient man or woman. They figured out that everything in the universe is connected. They also believed that self-denial will lead them to liberation. Again, I'm picking up all these from the Indic traditions, whether it's Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism, or the Sanatana Dharma and so on. So what evolved during this period was people went to holy places to worship. So the concept of prayer evolved. Elaborate rituals evolved during this period. This was a time when people used bronze and iron artifacts, so they had religious artifacts that were used. Okay, my timer says one thing I don't know is when to get off, right? All right, so anyway, so I'm going to just leave it there and move to the modern man, the modern times. If you're looking at modern times, while the ancient man's primary occupation of the sages were to understand mind and control mind, and thereby achieve liberation. So the sages were concerned or occupied with that work. But when you move to the modern times, the scientific and philosophical thoughts further refined. Science and technology became so dominant in our lives that instead of looking to religion for answers, science has taken that place, or science and technology has taken that place to a large degree. Therefore, a lot of faiths evolved. Some evolved to align themselves with science and evolving times. Some evolved because they wanted to realign with the things of the past, and then they further refine those. So there are many movements, many religions or faiths of that kind. So religion started evolving. Science, obviously, I said, is the main thing that was being looked at for getting answers to questions. But the key challenges of this period are many. About 2 years ago, World Economic Forum did a survey of global shapers of the youth. And there were 10 things that were identified as problems or issues that youth are concerned about. They identified lack of employment opportunities, inequalities in education, pressures of 24/7 social networking, obesity, violence and substance abuse, lack of available housing, food and water security, and so on. But if you bring it down to the basics, there are 3 issues that faces the modern man commonly, whether it's man or woman, whether it's a student or a corporate employee. 3 things. One is lack of time. We all face shortage of time as an issue. Number 2 is our desires are growing up all the time. They're increasing all the time. We don't know where to draw the line. The expectations are so high. Expectation of an employer with employee, a child with a father, or a wife with a husband, and so on. So the expectations are growing up, the desires are increasing, and as a result of all this, we got more and more stress. It's bothering the modern man. So we looked at the really prehistoric times to ancient times to modern times, and there were different problems at different times. But what does the Indic traditions or Vedanta provide as an idea or a solution or a set of solutions? So I would like to point to a couple of things. Primarily, if you look at of course I'm not going to be talking at length about this, but the concept of Raja Yoga. There are 8 segments to this. Some of them are about mind control, and those are some things that you want to go and look at. Obviously, I don't have time to go over a lot of these things that I was able to.
That's okay.
You know. But anyway, from the old traditions, a few things that can act as a bridge, or yoga. Yoga seemed one of the things that would apply, as it applied to the ancient world, it applies to the problems that we have today. Sati, which is a Buddhist technique of mindfulness, so it's already here, and there's a lot of popularity around that right now. There are things like pranayama, upavasa. This is one of the things that wasn't there even 15 years ago, 10 years ago. There's a lot of popularity around intermittent fasting now. So there are ideas from the ancient world that we can bring forward and use to address some of the problems of the modern man. Since I'm way over time, I would like to stop here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Narendran on Swami Vivekananda inspiring the youth.
Arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. One cannot forget these words when we are supposed to talk about Swami Vivekananda and his inspiration to the world. When Lokeshji asked me, can you talk about Swami Vivekananda's inspiration to the youth? It's a difficult topic. One would think it is easy to deliver an inspiring story about Swami Vivekananda and we can just walk away. But no, it's not. When I started writing down the speech, I realized there is plethora of thoughts and plethora of stories that is revolving around Swami Vivekananda's life. It gave me a very confusing result. Finally, I ended up not writing anything. I wanted to think from the heart. So I have come here with less preparation, only with my personal experience. When I thought about my personal experience, I was a little bit surprised and humbled. I was glad. With these kind of aspiring, wonderful speakers here, a teeny tiny person like me can also deliver some 2 cents to you guys. That's when I realized, wait a minute, my name is Narendran. It's resonating to Swami Vivekananda's actual name. That's one thing, that's a win for me. And second thing, I happen to have the privilege of studying in Ramakrishna Mission. So naturally, I have the stories in me and he has already inspired me. So I'm a living proof of Swami Vivekananda's inspiration. If I have turned out to be a decent guy, some of you already know me to be a decent guy, I believe. So without much ado, I thank Swamiji and Lokeshji and HSS people for giving me this opportunity. I'll try to give a little story about Swami Vivekananda's life. 2 stories which comes to my mind immediately whenever I talk about Swami Vivekananda is that the story about the ghost on the tree. Swami Vivekananda used to be very, very naughty boy, and he used to play around in the tree which is adjacent to his, I think, uncle's family. So one day he was playing around with his friends and he started disturbing his uncle's sleep, and his uncle comes out and then says that, Narendra, you're not supposed to play there because there's a ghost in the tree. Swamiji and his friends kind of stopped their game and then started wondering what is he talking about. That's when his friend got really frightened and he said, Narendra, no, we should stop playing, we should go home. This is really not worth of our time. We don't want to be punished by the ghost. But Swamiji said, I know what you're talking, let's wait for a minute. When his uncle passed, Swamiji said, let's go back to our game. His friend was confused. Didn't you listen to your uncle a bit? He said that it's a ghost. We are not playing with a ghost, right? But then Swamiji said, if the ghost is supposed to have punished me, it should have done last 3 years back, because I have been playing in this tree for the last 3 years. So there is no evidence that it is there. That's when he uttered these words. Believe in something only if you know the facts have been checked. So this is a great message to not just young people, youth, but also adults. Anytime, whenever somebody says something to you, you have to check the facts and then believe whether that is true or not. This is a great lesson which has inspired me to check the facts whenever I have doubts. Today I have opportunity to get somebody to inspire me, Joydeep. Before this speak, I was talking with him on some of my confusions around my life. And he happened to be talking like a Swami Vivekananda to me, and he inspired me to change my perception a little bit. He has not completed the job. His story is continuing. Thank you for that. And the second story, what I want to say is about Swamiji's experience during his America visit. What happened was that he saw a bunch of young adults trying to shoot an eggshell. They were failing miserably. And then he got curious, like all the time he went and then approached the people and then openly asked, can I give it a try? And then shoot the eggshells. Looking at Swamiji's attire and his way of speaking, they thought, what are you going to do? Okay, give it a try. But then he was able to take the shot every time. He made the shot count every time. Surprised by the fact, this man who is from India, who has not done any training on gun shooting, has been able to deliver such a profound accuracy shots. The young men were confused and then amazed by the fact and asked them, what is your secret? Swamiji said, it's the power of concentration. My friends, these are the words. When you put your mind, your body, your nerves, each and every cell should be thinking about that one task. If you can do something like that, that level of concentration would itself will give the results whatever you are deciding. So, two things we can take away which is fundamental in my life, what I have been able to understand. One is check the facts. Second is power of concentration. I have not achieved completely, but I'm trying. Another interesting aspect is that Swami Vivekananda has also described us the power of teamwork. One would ask, when did he work in a team? He was always like a lone lion, but not. I'm talking about the fact that he was able to bring the East to the West and merge it together. He took the inspiration from East and gave the lesson to the West, and he took some of the West principles which are good for India, and then he was able to convey the message to India as well, which is the team effort. It's a two-way communication which I'm talking about. Any person whom you are talking, interacting day-to-day life, like the way how he explained, a sweeper could be a person who is inspiring you on his words. Today morning I happened to see a barista person who was able to inspire me. She was very happy, whatever be the mood, whatever difficulties she had. But we always complain about other things. So, without much ado, I have lost one thing. I want all of you to think. Some of you have kids, some of you have neighbors who are kids, so they are the future youth. Swamiji's aspiring thinking process is nation building with youth's help. 100 youths can change the nation. That was his words. Today it may be more than that, but I challenge you that you can also change any nation with the help of youth power. So I want all of you to take one pledge today stating that you will inspire a youth so that he gets to choose his goal. Without goal, life is a lost ship without destination. So I urge you today to take a pledge that you would inspire a youth to take a short-term goal or a long-term goal so that they get themselves aspired, so that they can also aspire to be a great nation's future leaders. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Narayan. Next we have Rohini Munimani on serving the motherland.
Namaste everyone. My speech was delegated by my wife Rohini to me. I am delivering her speech in the inspiration of Swami Vivekananda. let's go back to Ramayana age. The whole Ramayana is done. Ravana got killed, and Vibhishana is going to be taking the throne of Lanka. So Lakshmana says, Rama, let's have a king who will be trustworthy and who will be under our control, so that it will be good city. At that time, Rama says, okay, and Rama is clear on his thoughts, and he says that Api Swarnamayi Lanka Name Lakshmana Rochate Janani Janma Bhumisha Swargadapi Gariyasi. What a powerful words Kavi Valmiki put through the Ramayana. The nationalism was there at the time of Ramayana. Rama gives that message of nationalism to the whole world through this one shloka. So today's talk is on serving our motherland. So I'm trying to see what I can contribute on that line. So as you all know, nationalism is a natural and fundamental, or probably I think fundamental factor for a nation. Without that nationalism, the nation will not prosper and not progress. So every country has that nationalism, and they express and they work for the nation one or the other way. Even if you go to the next stage, even in the Upanishads and in the Utopadeshas, there are several subhashitas which gives that message again and again. There is one message, one shloka says that Tyajat ekam kulasyarthe gramasyarthe kulam tyajet. Gramam janapadasyarthe atmarthe prithvai tyajet. The meaning is, sacrifice one for the sake of the family. If there is a need, the family should be protected. Okay, it needs, you can sacrifice the man or one of the family members. But if you go to the next extent, give up the family for the sake of the village. And the next thing is, if there is a need, the whole village can be sacrificed for the nation. But ultimately, to leave this atmarte means for the sake of moksha, okay, I can leave the earth. The subtle message is, if there is a need of sacrifice for the nation, we should be ready. We should give whatever is possible from our side. And Swami Vivekananda take the same message throughout the world, even especially after his return from US and Europe. He gave that message to all the youths. Okay. So he analyzed when he was in Europe and America's tour, after America's tour, he compared, he analyzed both Western and Eastern thought process and the views. The Westerners were thinking that this India is beautiful, it's really good, and it has lot of things to do, but at the same, there is lot of poverty. They were visualizing that there is a beautiful river, beautiful temples, etc. But when there is, see the tree roads, there are a lot of cows walking around, and then there is someone which is without any much dress, which full of poverty, and wherever you see that thing, at the same time there are some people who are really rich, and there is a disparity between these two social disparities. And at the same time, what the Indians were thinking about the Western is, these people are like, they just focus on their happiness and fun, okay, always do the dancing, and then they eat, and then nothing to do there for life, and they're not seeking their sadhana and all those things. But when he realized that even in spite of all these things in Bharat, so much of at that time, you can imagine the miserable things happening at that time, untouchability and then social disparities. So he thought, still the nation exists. How can it be possible? he was thinking that the only thing which was integrating the entire Bharat is through this nationalism. So he thought, and when he went back to Bharat after a trip, all these lectures were fully charged with this kind of message. And in one of the things, and even he himself was a great patriot. How much means if he hear anyone talk against of India, he used to contract immediately and react. While going to Europe, while going to America in the ship, there was a pastor who was always bulbing and telling that, okay, India is such a nation where there are so much of untouchability, and they do murti pujan, and they do all rubbish things they were talking. He was talking like that. And this Swami Vivekananda was getting irritated, and he just warned him. Okay, I don't like this kind of things, okay? If you don't like India, just be calm, quiet. Don't talk about all the rubbish things to India. No, he didn't listen, he just continued. That's a usual tendency, right? And one day, he just hit him, and he just hold like this. And this, he throw, but at that time, everyone shocked. Being a sannyasi, okay, and of course, Vivekananda was a tall, hefty guy, and being a sannyasi, how can you expect to punish someone like this? So then immediately, without thinking, he says that, okay, like India is like my mother. If someone hates, talk rubbish about my mother, I cannot sustain that, I cannot resist. I have to take the action against that. If you would have in the same position, wouldn't you be taking the same situation, same solution, same action? He asked, and no one could answer that. So from that time onward, that pastor was just silent, and no one talked about against India. So that was good message he could give there itself. And he came back, and then as Narendra ji said, okay, his favorite slogan was arise, awake, stop until the goal is reached. What is that goal he was talking about? So he gave that message based on what his analysis and other things, that for the India right now, the God is only one, that is Bharat Mata, means the Mother India, and we need to serve by all our energy and all our efforts. Okay, he says that for the next 50 years, this alone shall be our keynote. This, our great Mother India. Let all other vain God disappear from the time, from our minds. This is the only God that is awake. Our own race. Everywhere His hands, everywhere His feet, everywhere His ears, He covers everything. So just focus on Mother India and serve. Serve means what exactly? He gives that message as well. Okay, he coined that Daridra Narayano Bhava. It is not like just as protect India. It is the serving is different. It's a seva. And he asked everyone, appealed everyone that each and every Daridra is like Narayan. Means we need to serve this nation as a God and serve each and every people who are in need and who needs the help. Okay, and this kind of message is very powerful. And also he conveyed the next message is, this life is so short. Okay, don't think that you can do it later. Now I'm busy with some other things. This is not the way. This is the time. Okay, don't focus any other things other than this serving the Bharat, serving the Mother India. So that is really changed the whole scenario, and lot of youths came in influenced by Swami Vivekananda and merged and jumped into this cause and then served the India. And even now, this kind of some of the wordings, some of the messages are still valid for us. Okay, and say considering for the serving Bharat Mata. Namaste.
Thank you. Next we have Lokesh Mundagowda on Swami's educational outlook.
Jananīṃ Charadāṃ Devīṃ Rāmakriṣṇam Jagatgurum Pādapadme Trayositva Pranamāmi Muhurmuhur. Respected Swamiji, assembled dear sisters and brothers, and all the assembled young kids and youth. Today, my topic given is Swamiji's thoughts on education. So I will try to cover it in a couple of points. So we will look into what is education, then what is not, and how do we get education, and what is the goal of education, and finally, like man making and character building. So what is education? Is it book learning? No. Is it diverse knowledge? Not at all. That's also not. Swamiji says, education is the manifestation of perfection which is already in man. So here the word manifestation means, so there's something is already existing and it is waiting to be unrevealed. So the main focus of education is to manifest the hidden abilities of a man. And next important word here is, what phrase Swamiji uses is already in man. So this refers to the potentials of a man, which are his range of abilities, known or unknown to him. So you have to manifest those hidden abilities, which they already existing in the man. So Swamiji goes ahead and says, knowledge is inherent in man. No knowledge comes from outside. Everything, it's all inside. So what we say a man knows is just what he, in actual psychological terms, it is what he unveils or what he discovers. So we say that Newton discovered gravitation. So was gravitation waiting for in a corner to be discovered? No. It was in his mind. So Newton studied his mind, and he discovered and he processed his thoughts. There were the thoughts which were in his mind. He rearranged his thoughts, and he got a new link. So that new link he gave it a name called gravitation. So only the external world is just a suggestion to him. The falling of apple which he saw was a suggestion to him. So using that suggestion, he did think about this thought in his mind, and then he came up with the idea of gravitation. So then we have looked into what is education. So let's look at what is not education. Education is not the collection of information. That is not education. It's basically Swamiji says education must be the life building and man making and character making assimilation of ideas. And he goes ahead and says, if you have assimilated 5 ideas in your life and made them your life and your character, so then you have more education than the man who has by hearted whole of library. If education was collection of information, then libraries would have been the greatest sages of the world, and the encyclopedias the greatest rishis. So now we have looked into what is education and what is not. So now how to get such an education? How do we gain education? How do we gain knowledge? So Narendranji has already touched upon this point. He said that concentration. The only method of getting education is with the proper concentration. Swamiji says, to me, very essence of education is concentration of mind and not the collection of facts. And he goes ahead and says, if I have to do over my education and if I had any say in that, so I would not at all go for studying of facts. I will first go for the development of power of concentration, and then with a perfect instrument, I'll go and collect information at will. This is what Swamiji has to say about concentration. So how do we understand this? Okay, the power of concentration. Let's assume we want to cut an apple. Okay, so cut an apple, we need a knife. So we have a knife which is not sharp enough, assume. So if we try to cut, we can cut, but it's not efficient enough. We can't cut it properly. So if the same apple, if you cut it with a sharper knife, if you have a sharper knife, it's very easy to cut, and it is very efficient. Similarly, if you apply the same principle to our education, if you have a sharp brain, if you have a concentrated mind, then with that you can attain the knowledge, whatever you want, very easily, in a very efficient manner. So that's why the power of concentration is very important. So then what is the goal of education? So is it becoming a doctor, or an engineer, or a lawyer, or any professional? No, not at all. That's not all of it. Education should bring out the strength of character, the spirit of philanthropy, and the courage of lion. So education should bring out it should form the character of a man, and it should strengthen the mind to face the problems of the world, and it should also expand your intellect. So the end goal of all education is man making. So the man should grow. After having education, the man should grow. He should be attain some progress in his life. So what are the qualities after having education one should have in his life? So you should after having education, it should create a self-confidence and self-realization. So the man should have that faith in himself to go and face the world and to achieve anything, any task at his hand. And he should be able to stand on his own legs. So then another thing which education has to do is to develop the personality of the man. So what is the personality? Is the influence which you have on others. So with the education, one should get that such a kind of personality so that you can influence others. So as Swamiji says, so personality is the 2/3 and only the 1/3 of it is the real. 1/3 is your intellect. That is of any real man. So if you consider there is a really good man or a real man, so 2/3 of it is your personality and 1/3 is your intellect or your words. So then the education should make you serve the man. So basically serve the God. So as per Swamiji, he treated every soul as potentially divine. So he said, so it should be you should serve the God in the sick, God in poor, and the God in the ignorant. So if you have that kind of education with which you get these kind of philanthropic ideas, then you had the proper education. So then, how do we go about man making and character building? The character is the aggregate of your tendencies, of your mind's tendencies. So in your life, there are a lot of pains and pleasures which go through, pains and pass through of your soul, in front of your soul. So those tendencies those pains and pleasures will leave an impression on your soul. So those impressions, they give results to your character. So Swamiji says, we are what our thoughts are made of. Words are secondary. Thoughts leave. They travel far. So take care of so take care what you think. So a good man, a man with a good thoughts will do good work, and that will lead to a good action. A man with a bad thoughts will do bad actions. So the good thoughts will lead you to a good convictions. So good convictions will give you good preferences. When you do some action, you will select the right one, the good preferences. So your good preferences lead to a good actions. So likewise, so good actions, if you do a repeated action repeatedly, that will become your habit. So the repeated habit is what is called your character. So it all starts with a good thought. So careful about what you think about. So then Swamiji realized for any great person or any great nation, these three things are very important. So one is conviction in the power of goodness, absence of jealous and suspicion, and helping all who are trying to be good and do good. So these are the things he summarizes. So now with that, I would like to summarize what we have discussed today. So we initially started off with looking into what is the education according to Swamiji. So how we defined education and what not is education, and how to obtain that kind of an education or a knowledge. And then we looked into what is the goal of education, and finally I touched upon man making and character building. With that, I want to conclude. I thank respected Swamiji and Vedanta Society of Portland for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts.
Thank you, Lokesh. Next we have Avinash Gudahi on Serving God in 2012.
Am I audible? I think so. Yeah. Hi, my name is Avinash. I work as a cloud software engineer at Intel. So I'm very happy and glad to be here. But before I begin, I would like to wish all the mothers a very happy Mother's Day in advance. As I said, I'm very glad and inspired to be here, and I would thank Lokesh and Swamiji for giving me this opportunity. So the topic that I would want to talk about today is how to serve God in many ways. But as I was driving from my house, I just reflected upon the information that I had gathered a couple of days back, and I thought before we get to that aspect of how to serve God, it's very essential for us to answer this question of why to serve God in many ways. Or the essential question is why to serve God in the first place, right? What are we going to gain out of this? Now that we have come here, we are going to have a very nice time for the next 3 hours. But what are we going to do after we go back home? It's a very important question to be answered, right? What is going to happen tomorrow onwards, right? So today we have a plethora of information, we have a lot of opportunities, we have a lot of information out there. But we do not have a very nice system or a rigid system of taking out our information, breaking down into small tiny pieces and absorbing that through our mind and our body. We do not have that to that extent. Once Albert Einstein was speaking to his friend where he said, in the West we have a very big shape which has all the comforts in the world. This shape is very magnificent. It's very big, but it does not have the one most important aspect that it should have. Can you guess what it was? It did not have a compass, so it did not know where to go. Today, we have reached all the way to the moon and we have come back. But let's say if I have to have a conversation with someone across the room, right, I still worry about it. We have had degrees, but we do not make sense. We have had guided missiles, but misguided men controlling them, right? We have it going on. So it's very important for us to understand this paradox and to answer this paradox in the first place. So why does this paradox has to be answered? It's very simple. Everyone wants a better life, right? Everyone wants peace in their life, everyone wants to achieve something, everyone wants some kind of satisfaction. So how are you going to achieve this paradox, or going to break down this paradox? One is through information, or one is through knowledge. So is that where it ends? So let's say we get that information by going to a university and that's all. Is that ends? So there's a different kind of knowledge that you can also gain. You can get another kind of knowledge which is called as the spiritual awakening or the spiritual knowledge. So where do you get that? I said that you go to university, you get some knowledge, but where do you get the spiritual knowledge? By coming here. By going to an ashram, speaking to a guru, you get a spiritual knowledge. And what is the use of that? Where are we going to lead that? So that has to be answered also. So now that we have the spiritual knowledge, now that we have this, sorry, just collecting my thought. Okay, now that we have that spiritual knowledge, what is the major difference between this knowledge that we have and the spiritual knowledge that we get? Right? There's two different aspects. One is measured through quantity and one is measured through quality. One is measured through going through life and one is measured through growing through life. To do bad things, you don't require any pain, honestly. Of course, there is consequences which is painful later on, but right now you don't require any pain to do any unwanted things or anything of that sort. Right? One is like you're growing through life, it takes a lot of pain. So one is like you prove a point to someone, but here you improve on yourself, right? So that is very important. So by serving God, we know that how do we get this spiritual knowledge? As I said, one of the way to get this spiritual knowledge is to serve God. And what are we going to do this with this spiritual knowledge? Okay, we got this spiritual knowledge, now what are we going to do with this? Consider an example. For example, we want to lose weight. Many people have this where they want to lose weight or gain weight, okay? First day of January comes, you will see everyone going to the gym. Everyone. Last day of December, you will see 10% of the people who actually signed up. Come May, 50% of them are gone. So, why is that? So, if you take a year, right, it's 365 days a year. So, 1 month is 30 days, at least 28 days, 27 days. So, in 1 week, there is 7 days, and in 1 day, there is 24 hours. We cannot control our mind for 24 hours, that is what it's saying. Eating one small chocolate or biscuit or a jamun is not going to do any harm into this world. It's just that whatever goal that you had set on yourself, right? Saying that I want to achieve this goal, that is where you are giving up to the mindset of giving up. For example, how many of us wants to wake up early at 6 o'clock, let's say, but how many of us actually get up at 6 o'clock? The reason is because we give up the mind, we get into the mindset of giving up on these things. It's okay, it's just an alarm. We can 30 more minutes is going to be a problem, but it is going to be a problem when it forms a habit. So the way that you can change this habit is through spiritual knowledge, making your mind strong. So the second important aspect of serving God and why to serve God is to find purpose, right? Only by serving purpose you will find your passion, but however that passion will lead to compassion later on. I read a recent paper clipping which was posted on WhatsApp. It said that life is like a tennis game. It starts with serve and ends with for all. For love all, sorry, rather. Right? It starts with serve and ends with love all. Only by serving to people, we will get the understanding of loving someone or building that Atmiyata. It's very difficult for us to get that feeling of Atmiyata without taking away something that we had. So another reason why to serve God is to completely surrender and seek her blessings. Why is that? There are many things which are out of our control, right? We do not know many things. There are actually things which are out of our control. We try to control that. But however, believing in someone, surrendering our thoughts and our aspects to someone, right, we get some kind of hope saying that it will be alright at the end of the day. Some hope that we will get that we can take away for the next time. So after we get all these things, right? So how is it going to go on a day-to-day basis? So just consider one day. By being all this, right, you're being positive for a single day. By doing that, look at the amount of improvement you have over the complete year, which is 1 year, right? So the last question that I would say is, or I would like to answer is, now that we got our spiritual knowledge, we have gone to our universities, got knowledge, where does this lead to? It will end somewhere there, right? We have a line segment which is drawn already, which starts with B and which ends at D, right? So it starts with birth and ends at death. So there's already a line segment which is drawn. For some people it is big, for some people it might be. It's variable, right? So what are we going to do after this? So I was reading another article which said that, I was speaking to my grandfather actually, he told me this, which was something that resonated with me. He said that whatever knowledge that you have gained here, right, other than your materialistic knowledge, right, you have to convert it into a different currency and take it to a next life, which is very good. So these places like Vedanta Society, everything is a currency conversion place. It's a bureau basically to get it converted and take it on to the next life, if I were to say it in that way. And I'm very happy and glad that all of us have come here. It's very, as I said, it's very difficult. We would have got thoughts like, why would we want to go talk to that? Yeah, I had this thought actually. There was emails exchanged like, I will drop out of this or something of that sort will go on. So it's very important that we came here. I'm very glad that we came here. There's one small story I also read I would like to tell. So everyone knows the story about the rabbit and the tortoise, right? So the story is, if people do not know, it's like the tortoise and the rabbit have a race together. The tortoise runs, the rabbit runs faster than the tortoise, then it's overconfident, it sleeps for a while, the tortoise finishes the race. So they say moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race, right? But there's another aspect actually, there's a continuation for this. The continuation is, now the rabbit contemplated and thought that, oh no, I did a mistake. Let me go and check about this again, let's have a race again. So it has a race with the rabbit and the tortoise again. Now the rabbit has already gone through all these things, it has prepared itself, and it says, I'm going to run really fast. I'm not going to stop anywhere, and it ends up doing that and wins the race. So the moral of the story is fast always wins the race, right? So there's another addition along with this. So what happens is the tortoise now knows that there's no way I can defeat the rabbit. It's way too fast for me. So it says, let's have another race now. But in this race, 50% of them will be in water, 50% will be in land. So the rabbit will run it'll give its 100%, it'll run, it'll go to the water and it'll stop. It doesn't know what to do. The tortoise comes slowly, goes along with that and finishes the race, and it is successful. So the moral of the story is, if some things are not your playing ground, make them your playing ground. If some topic is not what you want, make it your topic and deliver the message. So there's another addition to this story actually. It doesn't end here. Now that they have run 3 races, right, they become very good friends. If I have 3 arguments with someone, at the end of that argument I'll be like, chalo, let's be friends, right? So they are very good friends now. They realize that if they have to race together, right, only then they can actually exceed what they wanted to do. They can exceed their individual capacity. So now what happens is they'll have the same terrain, but they'll have it with other animals. Let's not get into the animals, but what happens is the rabbit takes the tortoise on its back and runs the race. It goes till the tortoise goes through that, and then the rabbit carries out of that and it wins the race. So the moral of the story is, only by helping each other out, we will get to our true potential. Just like here, it was very inspiring to hear talks about Krishnamurti ji, Narendra ji and everyone. So similarly, only by coming together as a single org or a single entity, only then we will reach our goal. So that's pretty much I would say. So we know that why do we have to serve God? The answer is already hidden on how to serve God. So one is through dedication, sincerity, commitment, and others, and to do service, right? So I hope you enjoyed this. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Avinash. Next we have Vinay Nuji on the concept of universal religion.
And you have the timer with you? Just making sure. Thank you, Guruji, for this opportunity. I've been loaded with this huge topic called as a universal religion. Right? This topic by itself is so loaded that when we talk about religion and universality, they are 2 parallel tracks. They don't traverse together, right? But a great saint like Swami Vivekananda envisioned to bring a convergence into this, right? He always envisioned to have one religion which is universal. So I've divided my speech into like 3 parts. So the first part that I'll be talking about, what is the current time definition of religion? And in the second part, I will be talking about why do we need a universal religion? And third, what did Swami Vivekananda envision when he said that there is a need for universal religion and how it could be achieved? So when we talk about religion, right, for Swami Vivekananda, religion is synonymous with universal spirit, right? So anything that a religion says should be binding the society. That is how Swami Vivekananda envisioned. However, that is not the case in the present time. The religion now is confined within the boundaries of mosques, temples and churches. It is confined in the hands of those priests and high orders. It is confined in the holy shrines. And to add to that, it's also the concept of religion and its teaching and its preaching is distorted so much by our politicians that they use it for their political benefits. And we fall for it. And that's the reality of now, right? The concept of religion is so much distorted that we have lost what is the true identity of religion. To be a true religion, it should be free of all these shackles. It will have to live in association, in harmony with your surroundings, with the nature, with the society. That is how the religion should be. And in current times, some religions are some religions in the world are claiming universal empire in the field of religion towards the mankind. And for that, they have engaged themselves in so much of ruthless wars and bloodshed. Right? I quote here Swami Vivekananda, how he observed this. There is nothing that has brought to man more blessing than religion. At the same time, there is nothing that has brought more horror than religion. Nothing has made more peace and love than religion, and nothing has endangered fiercer hatredness than religion. Nothing has made brotherhood of a man more tangible than religion, yet nothing has bred more bitter enmity between men. And this is the hard reality of today, right? On the contrary, if you look at how the religion started, what were the foundational stones of this religion when we talk about a religion? The religion was always in a view to bring the society together, to do certain things good, to do certain things in a right way, in a peaceful way, how they would desire to do it, and not by imposing one's thought on others. That is how the basis, the fundamentals of the religion were on, right? So Swami Vivekananda understood the equal status of all religion in the human society. Thus, he brought out the weakness of these orthodox religions, and then he picturesquely says this, right? I quote him, "We make the thread out of our own substance and spin the cocoon, and in a course of time are imprisoned inside." If you look at a silkworm, right? Silkworm, its own thread it is, and it binds itself into that cocoon, and it is imprisoned in it. We like silk, we extract the silk out of that cocoon, we use it. But the worm is always stuck in that. Same is with the religion, same is with us. We have defined what the religion was, it got distorted over a period of time. Now we are bound by this distorted fundamental of a religion that we fight over it. Right? So, Swami Vivekananda's teachings and preaching showed the real path of universal religion and personal spiritual upliftment. He advocates the message of rendering unfailing love and service to the mankind. Swamiji felt that religion is a necessary aspect of a human life. For him, religion is not about talks or not about any following of rituals or dogmas. It is about engaging oneself with the divinity. That is how we call the religion as. Right? And how do you engage oneself with the divinity? It can be achieved in a various paths, and every person has his own path how he can do it. People go to temple, people serve the society, or you can serve the needy. It can be achieved in whatever path one desires to. There should not be any specified doctrine to do that. And that is where we have failed to understand the fundamentals of the religion. So Swami Vivekananda, that's the reason why he advocated for universal religion. The tenets of such a universal religion must have understanding and acceptance of all the worldly religions existing now. Right? So I quote Swami Vivekananda here. I accept all religion that were in past and worship them in whatever form they are as. I shall go to the mosque of Mohammedan, I shall enter the Christian's church, and I will kneel before the crucifix. I shall enter the Buddhist temple and pray in front of Hindu gods. Right? So it is how he saw the light at the end of the tunnel. It is not by dividing people, it is by uniting people. Right? The religion worked as a cementing force of the society. It should not be cementing a border wall between the society. It is a cementing force. It's like a foundational force which brings the entire society together. to devote your life to good of all and to the happiness is religion. Whatever you do for your own sake or a personal benefit or individualistic benefit is not a religion. Which we tend to not understand that. If we understand that religion, when we say it is for the upliftment of the mankind, say it is only the upliftment of the mankind. When I say mankind, it's not just humans, it is the entire living being, right? So only by upliftment of this will we survive. Otherwise, all of us, we are here to perish. If we come as a society, we come as together, only then we survive, right? Swami Vivekananda understand this, and he said, the universal religion should be accepting. When I say accepting, it has to be accepted without any discrimination. During one of the last pages, our Swamiji said, acceptance is a very loaded term. It is not tolerating, it is accepting. Acceptance comes only with love. You don't go and talk to your friend that, oh, I tolerate your view. Then he'll slap you. You say, I accept you. I accept you as you are. You're not tolerating somebody's love. You're accepting their love. And you're trying to work with him to see how you can do the betterment of the society. Right? So the universal religion is the fundamental on which we can build a society. And we should also understand that when we bring upon certain things like a universal religion, it has to be accommodative of all the other religions which are currently existing. And also, we have to bring in new ideas and new thoughts. We should broaden our minds in such a way that there is always this infinite scope to bring in new ideas. Because people in nature, we are all diverse enough. We have very vivid thoughts. We have very diverse way of thinking and diverse way of praying. If all of these are not imposed on anybody, and if all of these are brought together and people are made to live in harmony with however they desire to achieve their goal of enlightenment, achieve their goal of meeting with the divinity, that is the universal religion. I'd like to conclude with one statement called as a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Hinduism, which is the derivative of Sanatana Dharma. When I say Hindu, I'm saying it as a religion because lack of word in English. Right? It is the profound religion which accepts any other religion no matter how you pray. That's why we have 330 million gods in Hindu. Right? The only way that you can accept others is by letting them be what they are and however so they want to be. Thank you very much. Thank you, Swamiji, for giving me an opportunity to speak here. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last talk is from Joydeep Bhattacharya on religious harmony.
Namaste all. I'm Joydeep. So it's already across noon and everybody is hungry. I don't want to take your time much. So I purposefully taken this topic of religious harmony. And it's, as all the other previous topic, it's a bit loaded also. So on 1893, when Swamiji came to Chicago and he talked about the world religion and universal religion, he said, we believe not only in the universal toleration, but we accept all religion as true. And we passed over 125 years, almost more than that. And still we see that the religious harmony hasn't been achieved completely. There is some room of improvement still. So should we revisit this question? And that will be a nightmare if after 100 years of this time, somebody comes back again and talk about religious harmony. That means we think a problem and we do not know how to solve it. That means somewhere within us, we are not honest enough to accept some premises based on which we can solve the problem. So so we are not honest enough. So I asked this question to myself when I chose this topic to talk about, and a few questions came to my mind. So I will take you to ask those questions and see if we can find some answer on them. So first is, what is harmony? Harmonization is the process of minimizing the conflicting ideas. A goal is to find common ground based on shared values and shared objective. So all this is to achieve a sustainable living. So we all want to live sustainably. There is no, so that we have all the conflicting ideas reduced as much as we can. So this is called harmony. So in the analogy of music, all discordant notes are put together in a way so they sound like a melody. Now the question is, does harmony or harmonization means elimination of difference? The answer is no. Harmony's precondition is the existence of difference. Harmony means you put together different ideas, different group, different human individual, and trying to minimize their conflicting ideas to a common ground for shared challenges and shared objectives. Now, I will coin a term, homogenization. So harmony does not mean homogenization. Homogenization means when you try to achieve a singularity, means in a society you want everybody to follow the same thing. That is homogenization. Harmony, on the contrary, is something, it says we have different views, we have differences, we come together, we come to a common ground, and we find a common path to solve the challenges. Then I asked, is religious harmony is at all necessary? So when I look back, not too far back, like in last 2 months, since February 13th, I have at least 4 instances which reminded all of us that we somehow need religious harmony. Now let me point those incidents. The recent one is the Colombo church attack, where more than 250 lives lost. Then we have Pulwama suicide blast, where more than 40 people died for no reason. Then there was a Christchurch mosque attack where around 50 people died. And very little known fact that on 13th February there was an attack on Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps where 27 people, soldiers got killed by a suicide blast. So why I mentioned all this? They have some dimension of religious intercorrelation or interrelation. There is some religious dimension of all this attack. And that makes it very important to ask again that do we need religious harmony? And answer is yes, we need. Then my next question was, is it achievable? So we said that okay, we need religious harmony, but is it achievable at all? The question is no. It might be surprising to you, but I came to this conclusion based on my understanding and premises. So I asked why. Now, the religion, I am talking about the institutionalized religion. The religion always ask human being to follow a one true God. And when there is an idea of one true God, it leads to a duality. Duality in the sense of believer and non-believer. So religion comes to one true God, comes to a duality of non-believer and believer, then it rises a conflict between believer and non-believer. This conflict becomes perpetuated, endless, and leading to persecution in whatever form. Whenever there is an interaction between two groups and there is a duality exists, strong duality exists, there will always be a conflict, and conflict will always lead to a human catastrophe. Now, what religion does is to an extent homogenize. the term I used earlier. It's called homogenization. Religion tries to eliminate the differences and create a unique group of people with unique ideas, unique set of beliefs. They follow a same thing and they expect everybody else to follow the same thing. And that's how they try to create a homogenized version of faith. Now, my question is, we already discussed about harmony. Harmony's precondition is non-homogeneity. That means religion and harmony cannot sit together. They are somehow oxymoron. One defeats another. So religious harmony is, even though it's a very good to hear, but it cannot be achieved. And I afraid that 100 years from now, we'll still be discussing about religious harmony and world will still be a worse place to live. And so what is the way out? Is it so bleak and so dark prospect that I'm trying to portray? Probably not. People, in order to achieve some degree of religious harmony, one must understand and accept wholeheartedly and honestly few fundamental premises that I'm going to make. The first thing is, people must accept that there is no concept of one true God. Because as soon as there is a one, people become custodian of that God. God not become the custodian of the people, but people become the custodian of the God. And they try to protect in whatever way they deem fit. Now, people must accept that God is an idea or a psychological need, the creation of human being, for the psychological need of the people. And the third thing, all religion must, and that is must, the essential precondition, is must to stop expansion policy by religious conversion in whatever way. If these conditions are not met, how much talk you give, how much you try, world will still be a worse place to live. So in conclusion, what I can say that Sanatana Hindu Dharma offers a working model. So I look at it as an engineer, I look at everything as a theory, as a model. How practical it is, it can be applied to the fundamental principle of human living. Sanatana Dharma offers a practical, workable model of harmony, of coexistence. So when I look at my example in my home, my family member, my father, mother, my sister-in-law, my wife, they follow different gods. Different gods, some is follower of Shiva, some is Durga, some is Kali, some is Ganpati, and we still live together in the same place. I asked why, because we never force anyone to claim the exclusivity of the truth of our God and impose it on others. That means my God is the only one God and you should follow it. And that's how we have been practicing for a long time to make it a sustainable model of living in harmony for different view, living in a enclosed geography. So in conclusion, unless we follow this sustainable model, I'm not saying everybody should follow, but everybody should understand that that is the only sustainable model of reducing conflict and achieving complete religious harmony, at least to an extent. So, thank you.
Thank you to all the speakers for sharing their thoughts on Swami Vivekananda's outlook and his influence. Another round of applause for them. Next, we have another talk by Sriman on the social teachings of Swami Vivekananda.
Respected Swamiji and dear friends, my talk is on Swami Vivekananda's thoughts on what makes an ideal society and how to achieve an ideal society. Swami Vivekananda, when he talked about society, he talked about it in the context of the caste system in India, which was prevalent in those days and to some extent even today. As you may be aware, the society in India was primarily divided into 4 castes. One of the previous speakers alluded to it earlier. They being the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, Vaisyas, and Shudras. So before we talk about Swami Vivekananda's thoughts on society and the caste system, let's just take a couple of minutes and see if it has any relevance in today's society. So the Brahmins were people engaged in education and teaching. The Kshatriyas were, of course, the rulers and kings who defended the country. The Vaisyas were engaged in trade and commerce, and the Shudras were engaged in serving others. So if you all take a moment and just think about it, it was primarily meant as a division of labor in a society. And as we can all see, in any society, any community, we have all these 4 different groups of people. In fact, Lord Krishna in Mahabharata, he says that a person's caste is determined not by birth, but rather by his actions. So when the same person, when he or she is engaged in teaching others, he or she becomes a Brahmin. When a person is engaged in fighting for something that's noble and just in the society, fighting against the evils in the society, he or she becomes a Kshatriya. When a person is engaged in earning and spending money, he or she becomes a Vaisya. And finally, when we extend our services to others, we become Shudra for that point of time. I would also like to allude to a Vedic hymn which talks about the Supreme Purusha as the cosmic being. And it is depicted that this Purusha has the Shudras as his feet, the Vaisyas as his thighs, the Kshatriyas as the arms, and the Brahmins as the head. And this is, of course, a symbology which basically stands for when we have as our foundation an attitude of service to others, when we accumulate wealth in a righteous manner, and when we stand up for what is noble and just in the society. That's when a person becomes eligible for receiving the highest knowledge. So as we can see, the caste system has very much relevance in today's society, in any society and any community. And what does Swami Vivekananda say is the ideal society based on the caste system? He says, if it is possible to form a society in which the knowledge of the Brahmins, the culture of the Kshatriyas, the distributive spirit of the Vaisyas, and the ideal of equality of the Shudras can all be kept intact, minus all their evils, it will be an ideal society. So basically Swami Vivekananda is saying then when all of us do our part selflessly, without greed and exploitation at any level, it leads to an ideal society. And what is his prescription for achieving an ideal society? It's primarily education. Swami Vivekananda, again, one of the speakers has alluded to this. Swami Vivekananda says education is primarily meant not just for fostering body or mind, but also the spirit. And one of the central messages of Swami Vivekananda's life is that the inherent divinity of mankind. In fact, Swami Vivekananda says, manifest the divinity within you and everything will be harmoniously arranged around it. Essentially saying that when we strive to realize our inherent divinity, when we try to practice the values we believe in, then automatically the society would also become an ideal society. I'm sure all of us have read many such sayings of Swami Vivekananda and other enlightened masters. And I'm sure we all strive to do our best in our everyday life situations. But sometimes life gets tough and we are challenged beyond our ability to cope. And sometimes we may even falter in following the values and ideals that we hold dear. So in those times, I take inspirations from a couple of quotes of Swami Vivekananda. So let me just read them out. Swami Vivekananda says, hold on to the ideal. March on. Do not look back upon little mistakes and things. In this battlefield of ours, the dust of mistakes must be raised. Those who are so thin-skinned that they cannot bear the dust, let them get out of their ranks. He further says, it is the thought which is the propelling force in us. Fill the mind with the highest thoughts. Hear them day after day, think them month after month. Never mind failures, they are quite natural, they are the beauty of life. What would life be without them? Never mind the struggles, the mistakes. I never heard a cow tell a lie, but it's only a cow, never a man. So never mind these failures, these little backslidings. Hold the ideal 1,000 times, and if you fail 1,000 times, make the attempt once more. So with that, I would like to conclude this talk. If we, with all our ability, with all our heart, try to live up to our ideals as much as we can, then we can say that we have done our part towards working towards an ideal society. Thank you.
Thank you, Srimad. Now we have a song by Tony Pollock.
The sun shines not, nor the moon. Time, it is not true, and leaves you soon alone. Melting all the way, the secret magic lies. Pure and holy name transforms the tragic lives. They're both the same. And just like you, I want to see his face. And just like you, I long to feel his grace. And just like you, I can see we are all one family. We are waiting for his love to shine on They're both the same. They're both the same.
Thank you, Toby. Please help me welcome the Mother Sharda group for the drama that they prepared for us.
Speak the truth. Practice virtue. Do not neglect your daily study. Do not neglect truth. Do not stray away from dharma. Do not neglect your health and material well-being. Do not neglect self-enquiry and study of the Vedic scriptures. Do not neglect your duty to the gods and ancestors. Regard the mother as God. Regard the father as God. Regard the teacher as God. Regard the guest as God. Whatever deeds are blameless, they are to be practiced, none else. Whatever good practices are amongst us, those you should follow, not others.
Revered Swamiji, elders, and my young friends, namaste. We, the children from Vancouver and Beaverton, present before you a drama. Matrudevu Bhava, Pitrudevu Bhava. In this drama, we depict how we should show respect and care for our parents based on the Taittiriya Upanishadic teachings. Mother is God. Father is God. Here we present Matrudevu Bhava, Pitrudevu Bhava.
Hey Jay, come in. What's up?
Hey Rohan, I'm having some trouble with my homework. Can you help me?
Sure, no problem.
So, 5 is supposed to be 10, 11 is supposed to be 10, 11 is supposed to be 10, 11 is supposed to be 10.
Rohan! Amma's washing the dishes.
Wait, what? Amma! Wait! I'll do the dishes! Sorry, Jay. I'll help you with your homework in a bit.
Wow, Roshni. Rohan's so helpful.
Yeah, Amma cut her finger so Rohan wants to help out.
Okay, Jay. Now let's work on your homework. I just did the dishes so that my mom can finish cooking.
Rohan, you're such a good kid. I hardly do any work at home. From now on, I'll start helping my parents more. Why are you so nice?
Well, stories of Ganesha, Pundarik, and others I heard from my grandmother made me feel like I could be more helpful.
I love Ganesha. What's the story?
Well, the story is told by Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He asks, do you know why Ganesha didn't marry?
I know Ganesha is a Nitya Brahmachari, but I have no idea about the marriage part. I'm curious now. Why didn't he marry?
So here's what happened. Once Ganesha...
साध्याय प्रवचनाध्यान्न प्रमदितव्यम् देवपितृकार्याध्यान्न प्रमदितव्यम् मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव.
Om Namah Shivaya. Let's go to Mount Kailash to find out the answer and see what's happening at Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati's home.
Amma, I'll play outside for a bit.
Okay, Ganesha, I'll take shower in the meantime. Do not allow anyone in.
Okay, Mother.
Ganesha runs after the cat with a stick and beats it thinking it's funny. It cries, meow, meow, and starts running. The chase continues for some time.
I'm hungry. Amma, I'm hungry.
Done playing? Let me get you something to eat.
Amma, I see gashes on your back and you're bleeding. Who did this to you? Tell me. I will punish the person who hurt you.
That's okay, my child.
No, Mother, tell me who did it.
It's you, my child.
Me? I would never hurt you even in my dreams.
Recollect what you're doing today in the garden.
I was playing with the ball and later found a cat and was playing with the cat.
And?
Every time I beat it with a stick, it made a nice meow sound.
My child, the poor cat was crying in pain. I recite in all beings. So when you're beating that cat, you are beating me.
Oh no, I didn't realize that. I'm so sorry, Amma. Please forgive me. I love you. I shall never do it again.
I'm proud of you, my child.
Satyam, Satyam. Son, what your mother has said is right. My Shakti resides in all beings.
Jagatapitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Jagatapitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Vagarthaviva Samprutau Vignanananda Vigrahau. Vishwavibhutishthau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Jagatapitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Natyalasya Pravardhakau Nigamanta Sancharinau. Nityotsavalaya Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Jagatapitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Sadyo Mukti Phalapradau Samsaratapavarakau. Samvidrumau Shivau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Jagatapitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Jagatapitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Jagatapitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau.
सत्यान्न प्रमदितव्यं धर्मान्न प्रमदितव्यं कुशलान्न प्रमदितव्यं भूत्यैन प्रमदितव्यं स्वाध्याय प्रवचनाभ्यान्न प्रमदितव्यं देवपितृकार्याभ्यान्न प्रमदितव्यं मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव.
So Sri Ramakrishna said, this is the reason why Ganesha never married, because he saw the Divine Mother in animals, birds, trees, and in all living beings.
Wow, so beautiful. And the story of Pundarik?
Pundarik didn't care for his parents Janadev and Satyavati. Once he got married, his mistreatment of his parents got even worse. He forced his parents to do all kinds of chores. Tired of his tyranny, they decided to go on pilgrimage.
So let's see what happens when Janudev and Satyavati inform their son Pundarik about their travel plans.
Son, your mother and I are getting old, and we decided to go on pilgrimage.
Great, we'll go with you too. We haven't been anywhere in a while. Baba, wash the horses and feed them fresh grass for the journey. Ai, cook at least 100 rotis for the journey and pack all the things we need. Let's start tomorrow. Come, my dear, let's finish shopping.
Oh Krishna, is there no relief? What karma have I done to have a son like him? Oh Lord, have mercy on us. Please, transform him. Give him sadbuddhi. I can take it no more.
Hey Krishna, you are our only refuge. Please help us and correct this tyrant son of ours.
The family starts traveling. He makes his parents walk while he and his wife ride the horses on the journey.
We're getting late. Can't you guys walk faster? We need to reach that hermitage quickly and settle for the night.
They settled down for a few days near the sage Kukuta's hermitage. Pundarik could not sleep and saw the most fascinating scenes. He saw 7 beautiful damsels in soiled clothes entering sage Kukuta's ashram. They started cleaning, sweeping, and doing all kinds of chores. After a few hours, they came out with spotless clean clothes. This happened every night, so one night,
Excuse me. Oh Devi, may I know who you and your friends are? Why are you coming to this ashram every night and doing all these chores?
Chichi, stay away from us. We don't want even your shadow to touch us. But I'm actually surprised you're able to see us. No one can see us. We are the river goddesses. I'm Ganga and these are my sisters. Yamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu and Kaveri.
Stay away? But why? Please, I've seen you all every night and I feel such peace in your presence. I've never experienced that in my whole life. I wonder, how come your dirty clothes are spotlessly clean when leaving? And why do you do all this work?
This must be the divine's doing that's allowing him to see us. So I'll explain what he's seeing. Look, Pundarik, we don't want even to talk to you. You're the worst sinner we've ever come across. Every day, thousands of people come and bathe in our waters and wash away their sins. And so we're polluted and dirty.
So we come to the great Kukuta Muni's ashram. Such is the tapas of Sage Kukuta that this is the very abode of purity. Just by serving Sage Kukuta, we are able to cleanse ourselves of all impurities from people like you.
But Sister Yamuna, no one as awful as Pundarik has ever bathed in my waters. It's not easy to wash away the sins that this one has committed. There is no salvation for him. I would never want him to enter my waters.
Oh, Devis, please forgive me, but I do not understand. What sin have I committed for you to treat me this way?
Pundarik, Matrudevo Baba, Pitrudevo Baba. Mother and father are God. All your life you've abused and ill-treated them.
Oh, Devis, I beg forgiveness. Please tell me what I should do to redeem myself.
Pundarik, change your ways from this moment. With whatever life that is left, from today onwards, start serving your parents. Otherwise, there's no hope left for you.
Yes, Pundarik, serve your parents with all your heart and soul, and hopefully the divine will redeem and save you.
प्रमदितव्यम् धर्मान्न प्रमदितव्यम् कुशलान्न प्रमदितव्यम् भूत्यैन प्रमदितव्यम् स्वाध्याय प्रवचनाध्यान्न प्रमदितव्यम् देवपितृकार्याध्यान्न प्रमदितव्यम् मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव.
This incident had a transforming impact on Pundarik. He served his parents with such sincerity and earnestness that people started calling him Matru Bhakta Pundarik.
Son, can you please give me some cold water?
Yes, Baba.
Hey Krishna, hey Panduranga, thank you my Lord. I still can't believe this miracle. Lord, nothing is impossible for you. Mukam karoti vachalam. You can make those voiceless speak. Bangum langayate girim. You can make even the disabled climb mountains. Lord, nothing is impossible for you. You hear a true cry and answer every sincere prayer. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Here, Baba, please take this.
Hare Krishna, Panduranga.
Wait, Mother, let me apply some balm. You rest and sleep. I'll massage your feet and your pain will go away. Who is it?
It's me, your Panduranga.
Forgive me, my lord. I am not able to attend to you. I'm busy taking care of my parents.
Son, I've come. Your unflinching service of your parents drew me to you.
Lord, forgive me. Please take this sweetie, Rick, and rest on it.
Pundarik, tell me what you want. I'll be happy to grant you anything you desire.
Lord, I don't want anything.
No, my son, I want to give you something. Ask and it shall be given.
Lord, I want nothing other than you. Please never leave and stay here forever.
Tathastu, so be it.
प्रमदितव्यम् कुशलान्न प्रमदितव्यम् भूत्यैन प्रमदितव्यम् स्वाध्याय प्रवचनाभ्यान्न प्रमदितव्यम् देवपितृकार्याभ्यान्न प्रमदितव्यम् मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव.
Even today, Krishna stands like this, and the Pundarik temple was built around it. People all over go for the darshan of Lord Vitthala in Pandharpur, Maharashtra.
What an amazing story! You narrated it so well, I could practically see it in front of me. But time flew, and it's late. My parents are probably worried about me. I'll see you next week. Good night, Rohan.
Good night, Jay.
After a few weeks, the two friends, Jay and Rohan, run into each other.
Oh, hey, Rohan.
Hey, Jay. What a coincidence seeing you here.
Yeah. Guess what? Last weekend, I read the story of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi. You know what I realized? Ma and Thakur were so devoted. They took such good care of their parents.
Yeah, what did you read?
Holy Mother used to help her parents so much since a young age. In later years, she used to visit Jairam Bhatti, her mother's place, and assist her in all the household chores. She was so helpful that Mother Sham Sundari Devi, her mother, said, "May my sorrow be born as my child in the next birth too."
Wow. And how about Thakur?
Sure, I'll tell you while we walk. Once, Rani Rasamani's son-in-law, Mathur Babu.
Rani Rasmani built the famous Dakshineshwar Kali temple after being guided by Mother Kali in a dream. She and her son-in-law, Mathur Babu, were very devoted to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who was a priest of the Kali temple. Mathur Babu looked upon Sri Ramakrishna as an incarnation of God and loved him very much. Once, Mathur Babu arranged a pilgrimage and traveled to many places with Thakur and reached Vrindavan.
ঠাকুর অনেক দিন হয়ে গেছে এখানে. It's been quite a few days that we've been here. Let's go home to Dakshineshwar.
আমি যাচ্ছি না, তোমরা সকলে ফিরে যাবো. You all can return. I'm staying here. I'm not coming back.
Thakur, we can't leave you here alone. You must come.
I'm not alone. I'm with this devotee, Ganga Mai. I'm happy here. I'm not coming. You all return.
What do we do? Mathur Babu, let's see. Tomorrow morning we'll try again. Thakur, today we are returning to Dakshineshwar. Ashan, Ashan. Thakur, Amra Shonge Chalon. Please, please come. We can't go without you.
Ma, this one's mother is old. I cannot leave her alone at Dakshineshwar. I should take care of her. Yes, I am going back to Dakshineshwar.
হ্যাঁ আমি দক্ষিণেশ্বরে ফিরে যাব
सत्यान्न प्रवदितं यं धर्मान्न प्रवदितं यं कुशलान्न प्रवदितं यं भूत्यैन प्रवदितं यं साध्याय प्रवचनाध्यान्न प्रवदितं यं देवपितृकार्याध्यान्न प्रवदितं यं मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव
Sri Ramakrishna's wife, Sri Sharadamani, used to live in Nahabat with her mother-in-law, Chandramani Devi. Chandramani Devi lived upstairs in a small house, while Holy Mother lived in a small space downstairs where she cooked for devotees and used to sleep.
Ma, hey Krishna.
Mae Bishon Peta. Ushut Takutai. Ma is having pain. Where is the pain, Mom? Let me take some hot tea for Mother. Mother, you are going up and down so many times. Yes, my child. Mother-in-law is sick. We should not make elderly people wait long and should attend immediately to their needs.
सत्यान्न प्रवदितं यं धर्मान्न प्रवदितं यं कुशलान्न प्रवदितं यं भूत्यैन प्रवदितं यं साध्याय प्रवचनाध्यान्न प्रवदितं यं देवपितृकार्याध्यान्न प्रवदितं यं मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव.
Hi, Rohan. Hey, Jay. What are you guys doing here?
Hey, Arav. Jay was narrating a story of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother.
Oh, yeah. I've read a few books about them, and they've made me think more deeply about a lot of things. I really liked God lived with them and they lived with God, and the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. The stories vividly share the lives of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. It's like actually being there. I would love to read some more books like that. Who wants to go to the library and check out some more books?
Sure, I'm in.
कलिया
श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम्.
So I have a pleasant duty to perform, as you know, Thanksgiving. The thing is, I must thank all the resources that was raised and also training and all the effort that was put for this. So on behalf of myself and also on behalf of the Vedanta Society of Portland, I thank you all very much. First I would thank the audience. Without that nothing happens. And then our speakers, because speakers raised many very, very important points. So these are thoughts, very important.
these thoughts are generally not thought. As Bhagavan Sri Krishna says in Gita, that Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato muni. In something, worldly people are wide awake, but they are sleeping in some other things, spiritual ideas. But those who are spiritual people, sages, muni, they are wide awake in those spiritual ideals, whereas in this world they sleep. So these are very, very subtle ideas we have to inculcate. As one of our speakers said, as we uphold the ideals, then everything will be solving, will be in the right place. I think Srimant has said that, and very, very wonderful idea. Yes. The thing is, religious harmony. As such, what he said is right. But see, just compare how human civilization is progressing. Think of those times when people used to kill each other. For a simple reason. But now, in the whole world, if something happens somewhere, and it is highlighted 24/7 by media, various kinds of media, and we think that too much. And this is only little discord. And as harmony of religion, as ideal, we can give little scope up for that also. So actually we are achieving harmony of religion. Though the discord, little discord will be there, I really understand. It is taken into, it is admitted in the point. But something happens somewhere in the world and it is highlighted by the media. That is not all. So many good things are happening. So many, see, like these thoughts, it's not highlighted anywhere. Is it not happening? It's happening. More and more people are coming to this workable solution. It's wonderful. This workable solution is possible. See, now we coexist. Almost all the religions, they are coexisting together. So we are achieving. Only some aberrations will be there. We cannot deny some aberrations, and that is allowed in the harmony. A little discord, like some in orchestra also, some discording note. It is there. So this is the beauty of this creation. If there is all harmony, homogenization, then it's not beauty. Some little difference will be there somewhere. But more or less, we have to concentrate what is positive, what we are gradually progressing. Our civilization is progressing. There is no denial of that. So I thank you, all the speakers. Actually, these are the points, what you have raised. It's wonderful. And I must thanks my budding groups, those who chanted in the beginning, and then my revered brothers and sisters from Satya Sai group, they also sang. And actually they created the ambience. That's wonderful. Wonderful ambience they created. And all other participants, kids, they did so much. I was in tears. I was so happy. So I thank you and all your efforts, parents, not only mothers, but fathers also have some part to play. Then Dr. Terence, our secretary, he and Jane, they have put their heart and soul in this. Then Tommy Pollack and Mother Sarada group, of course, I mentioned, and all parents, mothers, and MC. MC also has done a lot. And and from Sharda Group, Rupa. So, in short, I thank you all for raising such questions and also giving some solution, workable solution. That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Namaste. Let me introduce the cast in today's drama. Good friends, inspiring one another to be good. Rohan, Jay, and Arav, and playing Rohan's sister is Roshni. Shiva family. Shivam as Lord Shiva. Mother Parvati, Ramiti, Ganesh, Bhuvanesh, and cat Dayamati.
Can you give that one to Shivam? Ramake, give that one to Shivam. This one. Ramak, hand out to last girl.
Last one? Okay.
No, she's not part of that. Not yet.
Very well done.
In Pundariki, we have Lord Vitala, Shona, Father Janadev, Arnesh, Mother Satyavati, Akila, Bhakta Pandari, Tejas, and I am Krishna, playing Pundariki play.
All one moment. That is
She.
Oh, I
River goddesses, River Ganga, Gagana, River Yamuna, Shreya, River Saraswati, Maya, and River Godavari, Shreya.
Now bow down.
We have Thakur and Na, played by Avyam and Alekia, Master Babu, Rishi, and devotee, Rizvik and Tanya.
Ah, yes.
The Sutradhar, narrator of the drama, Chilaka. The little joyful dancers, Sadhana, Anjali, Samira, and Sanika.
Thank you. Well done. Okay, later.
Namaste. Please
please bear with me for a few more minutes. On behalf of our drama troupe, I'd like to say thank you to a few people without whom this drama would not been possible. Thank you, Thomas Uncle, for kindly setting up our green room. Thank you, Rupa Auntie, Sister Archisha, the Gay Uncle, and Sai Auntie for helping with the recordings. Especially Rupa Auntie, who spent long hours editing and putting a lovely soundtrack to this. And then I Rupa Auntie and Sawi Auntie.
Token.
Anita Auntie and Asawi Auntie. We are grateful to you for being our acting consultants and guiding us in our production. Thank you, Jyoti Auntie, for the drama script and direction. We are greatly indebted to all our parents. In addition to full-day jobs, we have to juggle across many other activities, trying to get us to practices, helping with our costumes, props, and whatnot. A big thank you to all of us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to learn about great people and perform our skit here today. Last but not least, we are grateful to all of you assembled here for encouraging us with a hearty applause and quickly overlooking all of our mistakes. Pranam.
Speakers, please come forward.
Shankaram, Venkat Reddy, Anil Bhagavatala, Narendran, Krishna Murthy Vadinani, Lokesh Mudlakaula, Avinash Godagi, Vinay Nuji, Joydeep Bhattacharya, and Sriman Kopalur.
Very well done. Very nice. Attention please. We'll say prayer, Brahmaharpanam, so that no need of gathering there again. Om Brahmaharpanam Brahmave Brahmavno Brahmanavram Brahmaevate Hari Om Tassat Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Everything is Brahman. The label is Brahman, the food is Brahman, when it is offered, offering is Brahman, the work is Brahman, and the enjoy is also Brahman. The doer is Brahman, everything is Brahman.